I'm Mr. R. This is the Rondinelli Project. I'm on Lake Wilhelm. Today, we're going to try something a little different. I'm not after crappies today. I'm after bluegills with a fly rod, and let's see if we can capture some of that on film. I'm losing my voice for some reason, and I don't know why. Always when the camera's running. All right, stay tuned. Welcome to the Rondinelli Project. I'm Mr. R. Today is a fun video about using a fly rod and what I call junk flies to catch bluegills. But before I do that, I want to give a shout out to a channel called JigHead Jones. JigHead Jones is a kayak angler and makes all his own artificial baits with molds. Then he field tests them live. That's right, you heard me, live. When he's not working 12-hour days, he's in a kayak fishing live for 12 hours. That takes a lot of stamina. That'd just about kill me. He will interact with you, which is pretty cool. So give him a look. Give him a look. JigHead Jones. I like how that rolls off the tongue. Check him out. Speaking of checking things out, here is my video. So let's get to it. After my initial cast, I have to work the line, not the reel. So when I'm running this rod, what I'm doing is I'm stripping line and I'm pulling the rod back. Stripping line, pulling the rod. Stripping line, pulling the rod. The technique is much different on a fly rod than it is on a spinning reel. And the reason I'm doing that is I want that fly to look alive. Movement is the key. These bluegill today were not surface feeding, they were staying down on the bottom. So letting it sit there is not going to work. Okay, so here's my first hookup. Now, I'm not trout fishing, so it's okay to slap the water. Now, I wouldn't want to be doing a lot of that if I was trout fishing, but in a lake, it doesn't matter. So after I peel the line off the reel and lay down my cast where I want it, I start stripping line and moving the rod, stripping the line, moving the rod. And right here's the hook set. Now, regarding the hook set, you don't need a hard hook set with a fly rod. All you do is lift the tip. Because of all that inertia and soft tip, it just snaps the line perfect for a hook set. Especially on panfish. And, you know, when you have a bluegill on the end of a 8-foot fly rod, it feels like you have a whale on there. That's the beauty of using a fly rod. And that's a nice bluegill. A lot of fun on a fly rod. I'll give you a little more close-up view here. There's the fly that I'm using. You can see that it's not a trout fly. These are just junk flies. They're colorful and fuzzy looking and hairy looking and bluegill like that. So that's what we're after, and I'll see if I can catch some more just for a demonstration for you. That's a nice bluegill. Here's a better look at the fly I used. You can see the split shot at the end, the clip. I've dried this fly off. You want to experiment with color? I have a bunch of different flies. I'll show you some more later in the video. To dry your fly off, you do it in the air by going back and forth with your rod really fast, and that dries off the fly. And usually when you see somebody fly fishing doing that, they're drying off the fly, but not always. There's wet flies and dry flies. Look, I'm not an expert on fly fishing. That's a science in and of itself. But I do enjoy catching bluegill or any panfish on a fly rod. It just takes a lot more time than a spinning reel. It's more finesse fishing. It's just a different technique to catch them. It's a lot of fun. Here's an example of the flies that I use for pan fishing. And you see what I mean by colorful. They're not really trouts. These are not representations of real insect, nymph, or flying insects. These are designed specifically. I use these for panfish. Hey, experiment with color. You know, some of the craziest looking things sometimes attract fish. So, who are we to say? Okay, so here is another example of catching a bluegill. You can see me stripping line, working it back, waiting for that strike. You can watch the end of the line. And regarding line, I'm using a double tapered floating fly line. That's why you see my line floating on the top of the water. And sometimes I'll see that end of that line shoot forward, and that's a fish strike. You see me look right there, and sometimes when I'm filming, I have people that kind of move in on me, and that's what I was looking at. I mean, they literally were right behind me. You could almost pick their voices up. And I did, because in post I had to cut their voices out of the soundtrack. Anyway, enough about that. Here's another nice bluegill on a fly rod. I'm really encouraging people, you gotta try a fly rod. It's a lot of fun. Sometimes people ask me, why is there so much line on the floor of the boat? And that's because you don't use your reel on a fly rod when you're bringing in a fish. I suppose you could, but you just strip line and pinch it with your hand. And that way it saves you having to pull all the line out again when you start casting. Right or wrong, that's how I do it anyway. As you can see, the wind changed direction, and now casting into the wind is like impossible with such light line. I apologize for the bad camera angle. Sometimes the wind changes the whole camera angle for filming. The wind is playing havoc with me today. Wind and fly fishing or using a fly rod just do not go hand. I don't know, someone did. And you just have to deal with that. So there's a perfect picture of my back. But I wanted to show you that you can catch bluegill with a fly rod and a fly. And here's another example. These are all really nice bluegills. I do want to show you how I set the hook with a fly rod, because if you blink, you'll miss it. So I'm stripping line and stripping line, stripping line, and I see the line starting to go right there. That was the hook set. It's very gentle, but it's absolutely effective. You don't need to rip up on a fly rod. It has a snap back to it that really sets the hook. And you can see I'm not using the reel to bring the fish in. I'm just stripping line and then holding it with my right hand. Stripping with my left, holding with my right. And then you just lift the fish in. I had another boat come in. Yeah, see, I waved right there. They were like literally 20 yards away. I could have probably cast into their boat. Yeah, you don't get upset over it. It is what it is. It's part of the landscape of filming. And this guy really swallowed it. He really wanted it. So we had to get the hemostats out. Anyway, get a fly rod and hit the lake and give this a try. It's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. In the live well you go. Meet tonight. If you don't have a fly rod, pick yourself up one and give fly fishing a try, especially for panfish. It's really fun, except for the wind. I'm Mr. R, and this is the Rondinelli Project. If you go to Wilhelm, maybe I'll see you on the water. We gone.